So hello and welcome back to some extra bonus coverage here from the World Series of Poker Circuit event in Tallinn. I'm joined by the PLO winner, Riku. Fantastic performance, well played, first and foremost. Just wanted to ask you about what your expectations were going into the final table as sort of medium to bigger stack there.
Yeah, originally I was just considering like playing fairly tight, since there were 3 stacks that were like 200k or plus a little bit over that. But when the dynamic shifted quite fast, like all the short stacks started doubling up, so then I had to reconsider my strategy.
5 in a row, right?
Yeah,
you sat there thinking, can I not just get to 6 left already?
Yeah. So then I just realized I have to change my tactic and just like go for it. Basically, it doesn't like ICM considerations were out of the
out of the window, right?
Yeah.
Because you just saw that there were lots of people that were basically just treading water and not really taking the bull by the horns and kind of gripping the final table by the throat and saying, you know what, if the chip leader isn't going to open every hand as he should, maybe I take the reins here.
Yeah.
So I think you did a good job of that. One thing I wanted to ask you, we saw you play a little bit more conservatively in the 5 card. Were you worried about potentially running into resistance in 5, whereas in 4 you felt like you could just pot a lot and get it through?
Yeah, I feel like the skill difference is bigger in 4 cards than in the 5 cards, so I just try to avoid like these kind of weird spots in PLO5 where I could get into these gambly situations that I didn't want to be in. So
not bloating the pot without any kind of decent reason to. You took a lot of spots where I think in 4 card you'd have taken the aggression. In 5 you were just happy to limp a lot and kind of stab when check 2 and kind of just play the little small ball game.
Yeah.
So that was part of the strategy. Nice.
Yes.
And how did you feel the level of play was compared to, say, online tournaments?
I feel like it was probably, a little bit weaker and a little bit more passive. Usually online you see guys that are aggressive in PLO, maybe even too aggressive at some point. But yeah, I didn't see that here.
Nice. And so we're going to see a couple of hands going across your performance. And the first 2 are going to be showcasing when you felt like you were kind of coming into your own, I guess, in some ways. And this is, of course, a very natural open. But you had the 2 stacks to deal with that were quite level at this point. They had about 10 to 15 big blinds. What was your plan here? Were you going to play any limps in 4 card, or were you just going to pot your entire opening range here?
At this point, I would probably just open everything in 4 card. Everything that has at least high cards. Maybe I could consider limping something, but yeah.
Any kind of ace blocker is enough, I think.
Any kind of ace or king blocker is probably enough to open here at this point.
And these 2 guys, Roger snap folding. So you made it. Did you make it 250 in that hand? So you go for a small size down.
Yeah, I think they're overfolding in that spot. Like so playable hands that I don't need to open bigger than that.
So if you feel like you're going to get the same fold equity from the 250 rather than the 350, you just save that 100 when they wake up with ace king or plus or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so we're going to see a couple of other hands of you kind of going through the motions as well.
Yeah.
This hand, you are in the big blind with ace 10, 8-5 double suited. And I quite like your decision. In my commentary I said, if we can create another street, why not? You know, because if you were able to find like a king-queen export here where you flop a gut shot and he's got jacks, he may actually fold or overfold that kind of hand class.
Yeah.
So is that what you were thinking when you just defend here instead of kind of going for it?
Yeah, that's my like line of thought that on some flops he might actually wrongly fold his hand if I just shove all in like for example, let's say it comes like king, queen, some random card with like spades or diamonds, and he might actually fold his hand when he has enough equity here when I shove from the big blinds.
Yeah, there you go. So, and you do get the 10-6-6, which obviously isn't ideal, but you're now quite far ahead of some like ace king 4 deuce type hands and stuff, and you don't mind denying equity to random overcards, right? So just going to be going with that. Lucky to hit the ace on the turn, of course, as well.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, you have to run good in these spots, but yeah.
But the great thing is you've done enough work coming into this hand for it not to really affect your position, right? If Lars on the short stack, who was one of the more conservative players, if he doubles, it doesn't really change anything for you. You're going to still be going with that aggressive game plan, I guess.
Yeah, I'll still continue, and it doesn't change that much. Like you said, this hand doesn't change that much, even if he doubles up. So
awesome. So that was the elimination of Lars in third place. The two Norwegians were a little bit cheeky. They were talking a lot of Norwegian there. I noticed you picked up on that a few times. Was that something that was bothering you?
Well, just a little bit. I did understand that they were not like analyzing and trading that much information or anything like that. But yeah, we talked about it a little bit at one point, and I told them that it would be more better.
I even saw you almost reminding them that you said, "Hey, 20 seconds ago you said that you weren't talking Norwegian, guys," and then they were straight back to it. So that was kind of
jabbed them a little bit.
Yeah, it was kind of more of a light-hearted moment on the final table. And now we're going to see the real defining hand of the heads-up match, where you do go for quite an aggressive ISO with the three kind of low disconnected cards, but you do have the ace king and two high suits, I guess. So what are you thinking at this point? Because it felt to me like Jan was getting quite emotional and acting really fast and kind of wanted it over almost.
Yeah, I felt like if I took my time with my hands, he would start eventually making mistakes. I don't have to take that much time, but like making 20 or 30 second decisions, which isn't like too much at all. It's perfectly fine in my opinion at these spots, but I felt like he might get a little bit irritated.
It did seem a little bit emotional in this hand. There were just chips flying over the line so fast. So we flopped the boat. We are going to probably bet like a quarter or 20% here quite often. But when you've got the board locked up versus an opponent that might be ready to sort of blow up a little bit, it's quite nice to slide this into a checking range, I think, right?
Yeah, definitely. And also I was considering that he still has more deuces than I have in this spot, so sure. that as well.
Yeah, because you're going to be less likely to ISO those ones, right? Only with the premium suits or something like that, like your combo.
Yeah.
And he's going to limp and just have a lot of like random dangler hands that he didn't want to raise himself. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So when you see this very quick bet, we're not really thinking of check raising, or did you ever consider that he has a deuce and would just go with it at this point?
No, I really didn't. I just want to let him bluff his bluffing hands and just call, because I have a lock on the hand, and if he happens to have a deuce and hit a better kicker, then that's what happens. So, but I definitely want to let him bluff his bluffing hands.
Exactly. You've got diamonds absolutely dead. Random hand like, I don't know, a medium pocket pair, or like he even takes off with the king 7 6 4 3, and this was such a quick bet from Jan on the turn. Obviously we're not worried about anything, but you took a little bit of time here before deciding to go all in. Did you feel like he was going to be committed even with a hand like Queen X of diamonds here at this point?
Yeah, I felt like if he has a draw, he's going to call it off. If he has nothing, he's going to fold it, and if I just trap here again, I might, if a diamond comes and he actually has the deuce, he might just be able to still fold that. So I wanted to just shove it in and not leave anything for him to bluff anymore at this point. So
yeah, and there was almost another quite funny moment in some ways where he said, "Why did you take so long?" and then almost throws the button at you, which did kind of cap off a rather heated moment in the Norwegians' standpoint.
Yeah. I was actually considering just my options. There was nothing else than that. So,
yeah, and sometimes I guess the opponents can take that a bit personally, and that was one of those situations.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so thanks very much for joining us and talking through your opinions on these hands. We got a good insight there into what it took to clinch that final table, and to really, I think the thing I saw that I said during the commentary was you were the only one that was really hyper aware of the final table dynamic, because each final table is always different. And as you have the online background, you'll know that it wasn't quite as strong in terms of people lining up to try and take over the chip lead. So you had to kind of do that yourself.
Yeah. In the beginning, it was also the queen's hand where my heads-up opponent opened, which was kind of the key hand in the beginning of the table, where I had to take my stand, and I won that, and then I got the ball rolling from there. So.
Yeah, was that a hand that you'd always take with the queens? Did you feel like you had some fold equity?
I probably didn't think that I have that much, but I still felt I was in front of his range there, and I also felt like if I, at this point of the final table, there wasn't that many ICM considerations, and if I double up here, I felt like it's a good spot for me to start opening them a lot more. And
so with the future game of that double up, you'd be able to kick on and go for the win from there.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what happened. So congratulations. Thanks very much for joining me and spending some time. Have you got any celebrations or plans for the win?
Ooh, hard to think about that yet, but probably during the weekend. Today I'll probably jump into the main event still in the evening, so just...
Awesome. Well, good luck for that, and thanks for joining me. Well played.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.